brush longer.
Take aim against cavities.
In Pittsburgh, this is Channel 11, the news station.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eleanor Schano. In the news, a full slate of women candidates has been endorsed by West Mifflin. We have a story about a man who is giving money away. We'll have more on that a bit later, but at the top of the news this noon, Portuguese warplanes have bombed a vital Army headquarters installation at Lisbon's civilian airport in what apparently is a military rebellion. The bombings came soon after a split developed between the radical and moderate factions of the ruling armed forces movement. Now, residents near the capital say airport buildings are in flames. The number of casualties is not known yet.
Rather reluctantly, our Congress is now approaching that final decision on additional military aid for Cambodia. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee is considering President Ford's request for an extra $222 million. Democratic Senator Claiborne Pell's trying to cut that aid down to $73 million, and he wants to specifically earmark it for humanitarian purposes.
We have an obligation, since we got these poor people into the mess they are, to help them from an economic and from a food sense. And so what my amendment does is no more military assistance, period. After that, there could be food or economic assistance that would go directly to the people through not the Lon Nol government, not the U.S. government, but through the voluntary agencies that are there, the church agencies, which have their huge constituencies here in our own country, as well, and who have the representatives there, or through the United Nations or the International Committee of the Red Cross. But keep bilateral aid out of it, because that's where the corruption is, and that's where the money is going to line the pockets of the government people in Cambodia.
The Ford administration has already indicated that it will settle for less than the requested $222 million in aid to Cambodia.
And Cambodian rebel forces intensified their shelling attacks again today against Phnom Penh's beleaguered airfield. The heavy rockets and artillery fire disrupted the U.S. airlift of rice, ammunition, and fuel into Phnom Penh. However, sources say the attack this morning caused no injuries. We get more on the fighting in Phnom Penh from Jack Reynolds.
13th Street in Panchentong Market. It sits on the edge of the airport runway, and it's constantly under rocket attack by the insurgents. But people still continue to live on 13th Street. Several families share the ground floor of one of the buildings. The upper floors are too dangerous. The owner of the building fled when the rockets started, and the family's only consolation is that they live rent-free. But it's like living in a bunker. One family, the Tong Lees, have 4 children. They moved here because their house was made of wood, and the rockets were falling too close. Mrs. Maxim's husband goes to work each day through the rocket attacks, and she worries that one day he'll be unlucky. Some days, when the rockets are particularly heavy, no one goes to the market. When they do, they buy quantities of dried fish and coconuts, food that will keep for several days. Mrs. Kasi is a widow. Her husband, a soldier, was killed 3 months ago. She gets a small pension to support her 7 children. This siege-like atmosphere is hardest on the children. They haven't been to school in 2 months, and they haven't been outside the building in 6 weeks. So 16 children and 15 adults live in a state of constant fear, hoping that the rockets will stop falling on Panchentong village. But as long as the airport is open and the rebels are within range, the rockets will come. Jack Reynolds, NBC News, at Panchentong village.
Now, the first step in Cambodian President Lon Nol shakeup will take place today when Nol names a new commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Regular toothpaste.
I am. AIM.
Come on, your mom said you're cavity prone. You need fluoride.
AIM has fluoride.
He's right, Jennifer. AIM has stannous fluoride, just like his old toothpaste. But look, AIM is new. It's a gel. It tastes better. And this gel spreads that good taste faster than paste. AIM is low in abrasion, too.
I like it.
So, he's brushing longer.
Maybe I ought to try it.
Take AIM against cavities.
In 200 years, America has grown from a wilderness into the strongest, healthiest, richest country in the world. thanks to two main resources, human energy and natural energy. We still have plenty of human energy and ingenuity, and we need it to solve the growing shortage of natural energy. As energy goes, so goes our country's economy. We need energy desperately, clean energy, clean natural gas. One way to ease the critical gas shortage is to increase incentives to the people who must take the huge financial risks in seeking out and developing new sources of gas. And those incentives start here, in our nation's capital. This is where the will of the people is put into action, for the good of the people. And we need action now. We need clean energy to keep our country alive, for you and for your children. Let your concern show.
Steak and potatoes make a nutritious, delicious meal, and they're both specially priced at A&P WIIC. Tender, juicy, round steak, full cut, bone-in, only $1.19 a pound. Fancy quality russet baking potatoes, a big 15-pound bag, only 99 cents. That low price on round steak again, only $1.19 a pound. And large-sized baking potatoes, the big 15-pound bag, only 99 cents. The super steak and potato sale is only at A&P WIIC.
Teachers in the General Braddock School District staged a sit-in this morning, apparently having to do with a union contract dispute. The classrooms in General Braddock were vacant after students reported to school and then were instructed to return home by the superintendent. The local president of the Pennsylvania State Education Association refused comment on the sit-in, but a school attorney says the teachers may have wildcatted in sympathy with the school secretaries who are reportedly disputing a PSEA arbitration award. A majority of General Braddock's 170 teachers called in sick. Officials were deciding whether a court injunction would be sought against the teachers. Bad automobile accident. 4 persons were killed, 3 others injured seriously in a 2-car crash last night near Huntington. Killed in the accident were 24-year-old Vicki Anders and her 12-year-old sister, both from Alexandria, Pennsylvania. Also killed, 24-year-old Robert Harkins and 23-year-old William Hippo, both from Altoona. Now, state police say the auto carrying the Altoona men crossed the center line, struck an abutment of a bridge, and crashed into an auto operated by Mrs. Anders. The accident happened on Route 22, about 10 miles west of Huntington. Bob?
West Mifflin's Republican Party has endorsed a full slate of women candidates to run for a half-dozen borough council and school board posts in the upcoming primary. On top of that, Party Chairman Howard Foster says that he wanted to run women for the Justice of the Peace and auditor's offices too, but he just couldn't find anyone who was willing to run for those posts. In a move designed to fight the recession, there's an employer in Massachusetts who is giving away money to some of his workers. Richard Hunt has that story.
Away money, his own money, in a campaign to help business pick up. He's James Davis, president and principal owner of a company which makes saw blades. Davis gives a check to any employee who can show he's bought a car, tires, furniture, or a major appliance. The amount runs from $150 for buying a set of radial tires to $300 for buying a new car. After the first 2 weeks, 130 employees had received checks, and the remaining 230 were considering what to buy. Davis estimates his project will cost between $80,000 and $100,000. He hopes other businessmen will follow his example.
We're hoping this will give an immediate impetus to the economy so that things will start rolling in a relatively short period of time.
The employees, of course, are delighted. There are several new cars in the company parking lot and more coming. But so far, no more bosses like James Davis. Richard Hunt, NBC News, East Longmeadow, Massachusetts.
That doesn't look like the kind of thing that's going to catch on real quickly.
Just had a very bad thought. What would keep an employee from buying the radial tires, taking the $150, and then returning the tires?
You would think of something like that.
Martha Mitchell is exercising the female prerogative. She has changed her mind. Now, not long ago, the wife of the former Attorney General talked enthusiastically about a career in television and maybe even motion pictures. Well, now she says she's going to retire from public view. Martha says there is never a day that goes by that she doesn't have some harassment, and that she's been one woman out fighting for America, and she's tired of it. At a news conference yesterday, she said she will go back to Washington, sign off her TV program, and as she put it, that will be the end of Martha Mitchell. Want to bet? She'll change her mind again. President Ford took a respite yesterday and he chatted with Shirley Cochran for a few minutes in the Oval Office. Shirley is Miss America of 1975. Now a student at North Texas State College, she told the president she plans to finish her education before making any plans for her future. And that story raises a question that I've been very curious about. It's all the billboards all over Pittsburgh. I'm sure you've all seen them with a picture of Shirley and her title, but there's no mention of any sponsor, and I have really been seriously wondered who is paying for them. They cost a lot of money.
That's an expensive proposition.
Maybe it's her parents. Maybe they were so proud they said, let's paste the entire country with billboards of Shirley. Well, if you haven't made up your mind yet what to have for dinner tonight, hold on. If your budget can stand it and you don't mind traveling to a little meat market in neighboring Ohio, we can offer some mighty exciting suggestions.
No one is going to argue that there's a high cost of living, but even with inflation, a steak for $9.89 a pound is ridiculous. Of course, this particular steak happens to be lion steak. Lion is only one of the exotic meats offered by Burning Man Chicken, his downtown Cleveland supermarket. There's also hippopotamus, buffalo, venison, and octopus. Mr. Manchik, I think the obvious question has got to be why?
Well, we have people coming in all the time asking, what do you have new? And we decided that we're going to give them something new.
What would be your reaction to a hippopotamus steak?
Oh, no. I don't like it myself.
Have you tried it?
No. I haven't tried it, but I don't think just the name itself. Why?
What about lion?
Oh, no.
If I were to offer you octopus,
I wouldn't eat it.
you might want to try that.
Definitely.
Why?
Why not? What can be that different? I think it'd be an interesting adventure.
How about a hippopotamus?
That even sounds worse.
Getting back to the price factor, the best buy in the place among the exotic meats would seem to be octopus at $1.99 a pound. But for the more adventurous of us, we're partial to hippopotamus.
I think we'll have hamburgers.
I don't think you can get anything like that around here, can you?
I really haven't tried, Bob.
I really don't care,
really
I guess, when you
haven't
get right down to it.
There's certainly nothing new about a men's fashion show, but when the models are police officers, the idea takes on a new twist. 20 Cleveland policemen will be parading down the runway as a kind of answer to what they call men's lib. They're going to model the kind of clothes every man should have in order to assert his manliness. That's what they say. The show chairman says the purpose is to renew the male dominance in American society, which has been brainwashed by women's liberationists. In Ray Elias's words, we are going to show all the various wonderful things the American male represents: the sportsman, the hunter, the lover, and the street dude.
Which one? I'm just wondering which category I fit into there. Okay, back in the news. For the 5th time in just 2 weeks, a fire's hit an office of the New York Telephone Company, and for the 3rd time, that fire's been declared suspicious. When firemen arrived at the scene this morning, they said there was a distinct odor of flammable liquid in the air there. Phone service to about 110,000 customers still has not been restored because of a bigger fire 2 weeks ago at a Manhattan switching center. Say, do you remember that gasoline shortage we had last year? Well, now it looks as though there's a surplus of gas, and the refiners are trying to pump still more gasoline into their stations. Jack Etzel reports.
The mysterious no-name oil company trucks, as the major dealers refer to these unmarked suppliers to independent stations, are a sore sight for major brand dealers. Major brand operators say, in some cases, oil companies are forcing them to buy large supplies at artificially high prices while selling the surplus at cheaper prices to competing independents. If that's true, the oil companies would be continuing to sell at high profits while stations are forced to sell at cost or below.
They're selling for less than what I pay for gas, so
yeah,
you can figure that part out, you know.
Where do they get their gas from, do you know?
I don't know. The trucks that I see, these independents have no names on them.
They'll buy it from some major refiner, and then they'll buy it 5 and 6 cents less.
Why would a major refiner sell it to an independent less than his own brand service station?
Well, this is my opinion, but just they have a class of trade situation, and they sell so much to their own companies, and they maximize that market, and then they go into the next one, which is the cut rates, and this has evolved over 30 years.
Do you think your or any other major brand dealer along here, for example, is being pressured, coerced into buying more gasoline than he needs?
I don't really know for sure on my competition in the majors. I know in my case I'm not being forced into it because I'm bigger than a salesman, I guess.
The economics of it all often escapes or doesn't concern many of these major brand dealers. One remarked to me, you can't worry about draining the swamp when you're up to your elbows in alligators. That's not exactly what he said. Meanwhile, virtually every major oil company is making a real effort, if hopeless one, to stay in competition with the price-cutting independents to the happiness of motorists. Jack Etzel, Channel 11 News Watch at Donaldson's Crossroads in Washington County.
One concern on the part of those dealers is the possibility the supply would level off, and then they would not be able to sell at competitive prices. Now, in a related item, a White Oak Borough service station operator has asked for the help of Wayne Van Dyne's Action Line in his own private war with an oil company.
Joe Mellon runs the ARCO station here in White Oak Borough, and he asked for the help of Action Line because Atlantic Richfield people sent him a letter saying, get out by the end of March. And he doesn't think that's fair because they're the people that brought him here in the first place.
Well, I've been with ARCO for 9 years now, and before this I was with Sunoco, and ARCO had came to me at the time and offered me a better location, a better station, which I did take, and I went with ARCO. Now my lease is up at the end of March here in '75, and I just received a letter from ARCO saying that my lease is up at the end of March. Please vacate the premises as of this time.
You mean they're unloading you?
Yes, sir. They're trying to get rid of me.
Did they give you any reason?
No, they didn't. Nothing in the letter at all, just saying to vacate the premises as of March 31st.
It's not just a matter of pumping gas here in White Oak Borough. Joe does all the towing for both White Oak and Versailles. He is established at this location in White Oak to inspect both cars and motorcycles, and he is a notary public. As Joe Mellon pointed out, he came here at ARCO's invitation some time ago. It doesn't seem fair that he should leave here on their orders. I asked an ARCO official how this whole thing could have come about, and he said, Mr. Mellon knows the reasons. Well, Mr. Mellon doesn't know the reasons unless it's over the 24-hour-a-day operation order that ARCO came out with some time ago. Joe said that if he were to stay open 24 hours a day to pump gasoline, he'd be out of gas in 3 weeks and have to close the 4th week of nearly every month. Perhaps something here can be done. We're dealing with a very reputable company and a very successful service station operator who simply doesn't want to get kicked out of his location, one that he's very happy with. We'll have more on a future report. This is Action Line, Wayne Van Dyne in White Oak Borough.
San Francisco's Bay Area Rapid Transit System has decided to scrap all that automatic train operating equipment that was supplied by Westinghouse Electric. Well, that's the same gear that was patterned after the system used on the Skybus in South Park. BART's engineers claim the Westinghouse system has a high failure rate, and the Transit Authority says it's going to replace the Westinghouse equipment with a system designed by its own engineers. Can we talk about the weather?
Yes.
You really want to?
Yeah, I want to see what's going on. Sure.
Oh, you want me to talk about
well,
the weather?
you tell us about it.
We were really sort of lucky that snowfall ended overnight. Didn't cause too much trouble. I understand that rush hour traffic was a little messed up last night, but the accumulation was basically insignificant. Skies remained cloudy during the night. It was hazy this morning. Present temperature is now 30 degrees. The humidity, 80%. The barometer, 30.19 inches. It's rising. Wind is out of the north at 6 miles an hour. It's going to be mostly cloudy this afternoon, just a little sunshine at times. High temperature near 40 degrees. Clouds will remain over the area tonight. Low temperature in the low 30s. It'll be windy and warmer tomorrow. Rain is likely, but we'll have a high temperature of, get this, 55 degrees. Ken Phillips is calling Wednesday's weather milder. Let's see now what he has for the rest of the week. On Thursday, well, you can expect some rain until about noon. High temperature close to 50 degrees. Skies will clear during Thursday night. Friday will be a fair and mild day. Temperatures in the low 40s. Now Saturday, it'll be turning cloudy again with a chance of rain or snow. That snow could develop during the day with high temperatures in the mid-30s. Ken will have a complete weather report for you at 6 o'clock tonight on Newswatch.
I don't think you have to worry. I'm told that the Farmer's Almanac said that yesterday was supposed to be our last really serious snow.
And that wasn't really serious.
No, it wasn't. It was just a little better than an inch. Okay. If you're looking for some extra money to help you through these inflationary times, you better beware of those so-called work-at-home ads. Bob James discusses them on today's Inflation Buster.
While there are many legitimate opportunities for making money at home, swindlers find this fertile ground for separating you from your hard-earned cash. Now, the Pennsylvania Bureau of Consumer Protection offers these tips to keep you from getting taken. Beware of any ad which promises top money for little or no work, especially if no selling, no training, and no experience are necessary. Be particularly careful if you're required to send money for additional information. Other warning signs: no salary is paid by the company. You are not given names of others who have been employed, so you can't check out the company. The illegitimate schemes usually work this way. You're sold instructions and materials for making items at home. Now, while the company appears to promise that it will buy the items from you, it rejects the finished product on the pretext that it's not up to company standards. That leaves you to find your own market. Or the materials or items sold to you are of poor quality and have an inflated price. Beware of those ads which ask you to address envelopes or postal cards at home. First, find out if you're going to get paid for your work, or if the company's product must first be sold through the ads sent out in the envelopes that you addressed.
Your turn.
Oh, we're playing the Adam and Ray game,
That's
aren't
what
we?
we're doing.
I see a 20, but 21 says it's your page.
Yeah, but what we're going to do right now is take a minute out for this brief break before we check on the rest of the day's developments.
You want to bet?
Men's watches have progressed from stem winding to self-winding. And now the ultimate men's watch, the LED quartz electronic. This is the magnificent Kentronics LED quartz. Push this button for bright instant time. Push this button, you can read the date. Push both buttons and tick off the seconds. This incredible watch regularly sells for $250, but for just 3 days, it's on sale for $149.95 at Gimbel's. Remember, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only.
Now, the world's largest selling brand of instant coffee, Nescafe, comes decaffeinated too. New Nescafe decaffeinated instant coffee. 97% caffeine-free. We figured if the coffee drinkers of the world like Nescafe so well, decaffeinated drinkers ought to get in on the flavor too. New Nescafe decaffeinated in the green label.
Do you have anything for headaches?
Yeah. Take 2 of these.
Arthritis pain formula. I have a headache, not arthritis.
Doesn't matter. Arthritis pain formula is great for occasional headaches, too. Look at the label.
Also relieves headaches. Must be strong.
You bet it is. APF has more pain reliever in it than most headache tablets. Arthritis pain formula.
Hey, thanks. Arthritis pain formula is great for headaches.
Arthritis pain formula.
From New York to Cleveland to out in Big Sur, Kenny's got a shoe store for him and for her.
No matter where you call your home, no matter where you make it,
Kenny's shoes are everywhere.
So come and explore at the Great American Shoe Store.
Steelworkers President I.W. Abel says that the average wage of a brand new union member is now up to $6.93 an hour. Outlining the union's progress for a group in Chicago yesterday, Abel added that the wage rate figure is up 100% from where it stood 10 years ago when he took over as president of the USW.
The state insurance departments turned down a request by Blue Cross of Western Pennsylvania for a $17 million rate hike. That increase would have affected over 400,000 subscribers in a 29-county area here in Western Pennsylvania. Insurance Commissioner William Shepard says that increase was turned down because Blue Cross does not really operate efficiently, and he also questioned the plan's administrative expenses, including some increases in top executive salaries. In other action, the commission did okay an increase in rates for all states' automobile insurance. That one's a $5.5 million boost, and it will affect about 350,000 Pennsylvania motorists.
Within the past couple of weeks, there have been numerous reports about a canning jar shortage. Well, you can rest easy. Reporter Ann Sire found a store where the shortage apparently is all over.
In this neighborhood, numerous people do their own planting. They have gardens, they have a lot of room up here, and they do get involved in canning and growing their own gardens considerably. In January, the company had sent out a special order for canning supplies that would be distributed as soon as they were available. This was probably the first of the year. They're here. We have 500 cases in this store itself, and possibly we could get more if the demand needs it.
Well, my husband's going to can some stuff this year. He's going to try and raise a garden.
Have you ever tried this before?
He did last year for the first time. He liked it.
Do you have any idea how much money it saved you to do that?
No, I don't have no idea. We just the two of us. So it isn't the, oh, I don't know. He just likes to do it.
I'm buying these for my sister-in-law.
Does she can often?
Yes, ma'am. Well, she grows her own. She lives up in Scenery Hill.
And then does she give some to you?
Well, that's the reason I figure that's a surprise for her.
Well, new jars are in good supply now, but for those experienced canners who simply need lids, we're told that they're still hard to find, but should be on the market within about 3 weeks. Ann Sawyer in Duquesne, Channel 11 News Watch.
Now, that supply of canning jars should last about 2 weeks. However, reorders are not expected to be any problem.
Governor Schaap unveils his new budget in Harrisburg today, and he's holding the line on taxes just as he promised. That new budget will span 15 months instead of a year to make it coincide with the new federal fiscal year. Most of the increases are going to be coming in areas like school subsidies and welfare grants, and another big slice is going to be going to health care programs.
Wait till you see the lineup we have on newsreel today. We have a polka sweetheart, a gold rush, and a legislative banquet.
How do you...
The Women's Committee did the planning for the Beaver Lawrence Farmers Association Legislative Banquet. State senators and representatives from both counties were invited, and the bid brought a good turnout. It's called the Yukon Gold Rush, and over 900 Cub Scouts took part in the annual competition. All the action was at Mount Lebanon Park, but the Brookline team came in first. The new Italian Hall in Monessen was the scene of the competition for the title of Miss Polka Sweetheart for 1975. Girls 16 to 24 were in the running, but the title went to Diana Zanarich of Struthers, Ohio.
Quickly looking back over the top news story of the hour, the General Braddock School District has been hit by a blue flu teachers walkout. Weather is certainly about to improve. The temperature is now 30 degrees. We're expecting a high tomorrow afternoon of 55 degrees. That's the noon edition of News Watch. Bob and I will be back again tomorrow. Hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, have a good day.
You have just seen News Watch, the most complete factual and pictorial television news broadcast available. The next News Watch at 6 o'clock. Buongiorno, that's good day from Benvenuti's, bakers of fresh, hearth-baked Italian rolls and bread. Appetite.